Well, good afternoon. Well, it's still morning, isn't it, Ro?
Well,
it's morning.
It's still morning. It is 11:48.
Yeah, I slicked my hair back for today's show with some product. What do you think?
You're looking pretty grease lightning. Oh, go grease lightning, go grease lightning.
Not
go
a single
grease lightning,
show.
go
Not
grease lightning.
a single show goes by where she can't sing.
I know it's true.
I said he can't sing, and she can't sing. She's a really good singer. Anyway, welcome everybody to another Richie and Rogue show, Unfiltered. We're so glad you're here. Thank you to all of our subscribers, our followers, and don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and share all the channels. And also, we want to say thank you to all of our new members as well. Our membership and our community is growing here, and we couldn't do this without you. So thank you ever so much.
Catty Sue has just said, yesterday I was listening to this channel. Can you go up, please?
Yeah.
Yesterday I was listening to this channel, a repeat with Andrew Bridgen. I wasn't noticing all of the chats, but in my email I see a very kind person has gifted me an R&R membership. Thank you.
That's awesome.
That was from our wonderful Joe. Was it Joe?
No,
Blott?
it was me yesterday. I did 5 memberships for free.
Did you?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Did
I did, yeah. During the live, yeah.
That's very lovely of you. I didn't realise that you did
It's because I pressed a button. I didn't know what I was doing. So, no, I saw there was an option on YouTube to give 5 memberships away for free. So we had 5 new members yesterday. That's a gift from us to you. So please,
embrace it.
Yeah, embrace
come and join the show.
Yeah,
come and get in the
I'm welcome. Good morning, guys. Good morning to Jake. Nikki, good morning, Claire.
Good morning to our wonderful darling Nikki.
Set your alarms.
She's darling Nikki, isn't she?
Yeah.
Just
right. Let's hope Ken goes in hard. Of course, this is PMQs every Wednesday with Richie and Rogue. Now we've got some exciting news as well because we're expanding our schedule actually, so we're going to be on air a lot more. As you may have seen on our X account, we posted this. So every Tuesday night now, we're not just covering PMQs in Westminster, but we're covering the debates, the topics, and we're going to be scrutinising the First Minister of Wales, Elaine Morgan, on Welsh politics. Because let me tell you, what happens often is a lot of people in Wales, they don't actually know what's going on politically in Wales. And so what we're looking at doing is we're going to set up this kind of every single Tuesday night where we can go over the calls, go over the debates, the hot topics and everything else, because people outside of Wales, if you like, don't know what's going on in what we call the Siambr, which is Welsh for chamber, the Senedd, which is Parliament in Welsh, which means the Welsh government, which is led by Labour at the moment.
Senedd. I actually used to use that in like Hebrew times as well.
Senedd, yes.
The Senedd.
Latin word.
And the Senedd.
Yeah, the Romans, the good old Romans, yeah.
Yeah.
So please, Tuesday night. So our schedule in Rogue, tell us, give us a rundown of our schedule.
Dun, dun, dun. So on a Wednesday, no.
I don't think your mic's on.
Is it on?
No, I don't think you put it on. I've noticed on your one is on, yours isn't. Sorry about that, folks.
Yeah, you said it was all sorted.
No, I don't sort your mic out.
Oh, well, somebody needs to sort my mic out.
It's near a particular part of your body that I'm not allowed to touch.
This is
it's
true.
Inappropriate. There we are. Your mic is on. Her mic is on.
My mic is on. Can everybody hear me?
Give us a rundown then, Rogue.
So every Tuesday now, we are going to be from 7:30 doing the Welsh Senedd reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Then on the Wednesday, like now, we are doing the midday where we talk about what is actually happening in the PMQs.
Yeah.
And then on the evening, Wednesday evening at 8 p.m, we're doing another show. So we get guests on. And then on a Saturday, we do a brunch at 11 o'clock. And then on a Sunday at 8 p.m, we do our roundup of the week. However, there's some exciting news to come, but we can't tell you guys until we tell our team, and our team need to know, because it means there's going to be a lot more hard work for them.
But also it's going to be incredible. I mean, I can't believe.
Your glasses are really dirty.
I know, love. I know.
Mine are normally really dirty.
I know. We have to clean them for you, don't I?
Yeah.
And your glasses cleaner, really. I mean, your chauffeur, your glasses cleaner, your bag carrier.
Yeah.
Everything, right, really. Howard's right in the waiting room. So what we're going to do is, folks, we're going to go a few moments live to PMQs, but we want to bring our wonderful guest on. He's the founder of Fairfield, of course. He's the wonderful, and he's such an amazing gentleman. My hair's gone all funny, though.
Don't worry about your hair. I've got my rogue streak coming through.
Are you really? Okay.
Look at that.
So we're going to go to PMQs in just a few moments. As you can see, what normally happens for you, for those of you who don't know, before the Prime Minister walks in and fills the chamber with all the rats in Parliament, what happens is that they normally talk about the devolved governments, so Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales, which these debates going on now. But we always want to bring this to you because most of the public don't know what goes on behind closed doors in these places because they don't watch Parliament TV. And of course, as we mentioned already, we are going to every Tuesday, we're going to talk also about Welsh politics, and we're going to talk about the Senate leading up to the May elections, which is going to be very important. So we'll be looking at every single Tuesday after the debates with Lynn and Morgan. We're going to bring you all those hot topics as well. Anyway, without further ado, let's bring our wonderful guest on, and our wonderful friend, Howard Cox.
Yay! Hello, Howard.
Hello, everyone. How are you both?
Good.
Really
How
good.
are you?
I think we got a bad signal. Hang on. Can you say hello again?
Hello. Hello again.
Hello again. We're okay. It's all right. I think it was my end, that one.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
no problem. But it's great to have you on.
You're looking very smart today. Is this just for PMQs? Are you trying to look like really political here?
It's for this incredible dynamic duo called Richie and Rogue. I'm just dressing up for you.
Well, we are impressed. We are very, very impressed.
We are indeed. You've been a busy man then, Howard. What's been going on? We're going to go live at 12. Obviously, we got the on the screen here. People will see. They just, as you know, they talk about devolved governments, Howard. What's going on there before we go to PMQs? What's your take on today's? What's going to be happening? Do you think there's going to be some bombshells, given the fact now that Mandelson has been arrested as well as Mountbatten? What do you think?
Well, as we know, that this is the usual weekly pantomime, which I've been watching for years and years and years. And it'd be nice if a Prime Minister actually answered the questions. And that's what I'm hoping we hear. But yeah, and unfortunately, what we get is that Kemi, the leader of the opposition, the Tories, she'll ask some good questions. It's easy in opposition to ask the salient points and the delving questions. But as usual, what's going to happen is Starmer would say, well, after 14 years of a Tory government, we're inheriting this, we're making things better. But I hope she will go for him for the jugular about Mandelson. And I think she should also talk about Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely. She'd also, she basically, with Keir Starmer authorising the pedo ASBOs for the grooming gangs as well, that's huge. We've got lots of things that she needs she needs to literally pummel him with verbally.
But we had one of our researchers write to the Speaker of the House, to me.
Yeah.
And obviously we know the Speaker of the House he's under certain rules. He can't ask questions, can he? He can only he's like the referee. Remember John Burko? Oh my gosh, remember that guy? What?
Don't, please, don't bring him.
Oh my gosh, that time was awful, wasn't it?
So last year, I mean, he's about to come on in a minute. Sorry, what were you going to say?
No, I was going to say John Burke, I had many a conflict with him because as you know, as you mentioned, I run Fairfield UK and I've been doing it for 15, 16 years. And the number of obstacles he put in the way of actually because he hated the motor car. And, and it's so sad about that. And, fortunately at that time, obviously the Tories were in government, managed to get a lot of coverage. And, I'm in Hansard quite a lot regarding what I did. And for those not listening, Hansard is basically the recording of what happens every day in Parliament, in the House of Commons. But, Lindsay Hoyle, I'm afraid I still find him a bit of a weak speaker, even though I'm good friends with Nigel Evans, who's Deputy Speaker, Nigel Evans is, I think we all know, he's a good Welshman. And he's a good friend.
Yes, he is indeed, yeah.
And he's a good friend. I've had many glasses of claret with Nigel. But I'm afraid I regard Lindsay Hoyle as very weak. And I actually think he's a bit opportunist in the way he operates. And I don't think he gives a fair crack at the whip for some of the backbenchers.
Yeah. Just quickly on, just for go to Rose's question, just quickly on this as well, when I remember. Richard Reeves has come out this week, I think it was yesterday, saying that older cars now will not be exempt from tax, Howard. Have you read this report?
Yes, it is. Yeah, it's no surprise at all. I'm afraid all the classic car owners will be squirming like mad, etc. There's no doubt about it. They do give out more pollution than the modern cars. It's true, but there's only a few of them in terms of actually how many on the road, and they don't drive them every day. They usually just go to rallies and things like that, and all those sorts of things. And it's ridiculous. I mean, it's a hobby. It should be allowed, etc. But we've also got her statement, a spring statement coming up in a week or two's time. And I've been talking to some of my people, I have contacts in the Treasury, that she's saying, as you know, they're going to reverse Sunak's 5p cut in fuel duty in the autumn budget. But she could be bringing that forward even into the spring. So I'm pretty busy on fighting that one. And hopefully we can beat that one again, because, 16 years we've managed to stop it. But I'm afraid, cars are seen as cash cows. There's 37 million drivers, and if you add just a few pence for a litre of fuel, 37 million paying that every day is a lot of money to pay off the stupid debts and fund the immigrants coming into our country.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got 2 minutes. I was going to read the letter actually that was sent to one of our researchers, because he actually contacted the Speaker's office in Parliament, as we know, and we have got the response, but I think we need to probably go to having a look and then commenting on it.
We are indeed. On the taxation system, Howard, anything we can do to support what you're doing with Fairfield? As you know, we're great fans of yours. We will do all we can as well. So anytime you want to come on the show to talk about that, and any campaigns you're doing as well, please let us know when it goes.
Absolutely.
Because we want
get behind you.
And if you don't know more, folks, please check out Fairfield UK. Just search for that and make sure you show your support for that, because what Howard's doing, he's fighting for us. You need to understand that the people, right? He's not like one of these politicians who's in it for themselves. He's in it for the people. So please do check
He's doing it for years. 15 years, his anniversary, is it, this year?
But he looks younger.
He does. He looks
younger,
amazing. I don't know how he does it.
You keep reminding me how young he looks all the time.
He does. Why want what he's got?
Oh, no.
Right,
so
let's
we've got
go
1
over.
minute to go. Just a quick reminder, folks, don't forget every Tuesday as well, Wednesdays, Saturdays and Sundays as well. And tonight we've got Kathleen Blakelock on the show. That's going to be interesting. And then on Sunday, we've got our good friend, Joak.
We have got Joak, the investigator, and we also have a guy called Raphael who has written a book about his experience of his abuse. And it is going to be quite a sensitive topic, but we again are blessed to be able to talk with these people and actually deliver their stories sensitively.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm going to go live now, and we're going to run commentary as it goes on. So we're going to watch what goes on. The house is filling up, as you can see. The normal circus resumes. So let's just get this on. And
so that we can deliver a stronger economic growth in Scotland.
My honourable friend is, as usual, quite correct.
And here he comes, folks. There he is.
Are facing eye-watering rate hikes while the SNP government tinkers around the edges of a fundamentally broken system. Meanwhile, Anna Thorower has been clear. Scottish Labour would revive our high streets with a fundamental overhaul of business rates. Right now, jobs and businesses are at risk, and we want to reset the balance between our local businesses and the online giant.
Shadow Secretary of State, Andrew Barr.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, given the Secretary of State still expects us to believe the Prime Minister has faith in Anna Thorower's judgment, it's quite clear the Labour Party can still have a laugh, but they do seem to have an aversion to having fun. Why else would they be waging a war against Scottish pubs? Because just like Scottish Labour's election campaign, the sector in Scotland is hanging on by a thread. Last year, one pub in Scotland closed every single week. But it isn't just pubs, cafes, restaurants, chip shops, all facing the same. So will he and his Scottish Labour colleagues join Russell Finlay and the Scottish Conservatives in our call for a pubs and hospitality business to be exempt from business rates rises this year? And will he do what he can to ensure his government stands up for Scottish hospitality? That would surely be something to raise a glass to.
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I don't know if the honourable gentleman heard me about the Conservatives' record. 7,000 pubs lost under their package of support.
Usual story, Howard. Blame it on the previous government, as they always do.
For pubs in England by the Treasury, meaning that there's already extra money for the Scottish Government to spend in this area. So I would encourage Scottish Government ministers to step up support for the hospital sector using the Barnett consequentials that this government has already provided.
Right. Before we come to Prime Minister's questions, I welcome into the gallery the Speaker of the Parliament of Fiji and the President of the European Parliament. We start with questions to Prime Minister Edega.
Number one, sir.
Prime Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 4 years into Putin's barbaric assault, the courage of Ukrainians burns bright. We are extending sanctuary to Ukrainians in their time of need, providing the weapons and aid to support them in their fight for a just peace. We're degrading Russia's economy and planning for a ceasefire that protects Ukraine's sovereignty. That support will never falter. And yesterday, Mr. Speaker, I recommitted to President Zelensky and the Ukrainian people that we stand with them in the fight for freedom, democracy, and the values that we all hold dear. Mr. Speaker, let me also congratulate Team GB for their superb performance in the Winter Olympics. They are brilliant ambassadors for our country, and I know the Paralympics GB will also do us proud. Mr. Speaker, this morning I had meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I shall have further such meetings later today.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And may I associate myself with the remarks of the Prime Minister in respect of Team GB and Ukraine. A great former Prime Minister once said, "U-turn if you want to, the lady's not for turning." Like the leader of my party today, she was a leader of principle and backbone. But we know this current government is no stranger to the U-turn. So given that, can I gently tempt the Prime Minister to add one more to the current tally to help get Britain working again by backing the fantastic shops and businesses in Melton Mowbray Town Centre and high streets across my constituency and beyond to succeed and grow by scrapping the government's business rate changes that will hit so many of them hard in April?
Well, it's good to see him in good form, particularly, if I may say so, after his health scare, which he and I have discussed a number of times. He discusses a former leader of his party. He was the former health minister, I think, who presided over record waiting lists. He was the former prison minister who left the prisons overcrowding. And he was the former economy minister under Liz Truss. We're picking up the mess and we're turning it around.
Rachel Hopkins.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I very much welcome the fact that our Labour government has recognised the state of Palestine, and I also welcome the Foreign Secretary's statement last week as chair of the UN Security Council, setting out the UK's commitment to increasing humanitarian access to Gaza and advancing a two-state solution. Does the Prime Minister agree that protecting civilians, upholding international law and supporting Palestinian-led governance are essential for a lasting peace?
Prime Minister.
Well, can I thank him for raising this really important issue, because the ceasefire in Gaza remains fragile and protecting Israeli and Palestinian civilians is critical to the next phase of the peace plan. Mr. Speaker, I'm proud of our commitment to a two-state solution, and we will be hosting the peace-building conference in March to build lasting peace and security for both Palestine and Israel. Hamas must decommission its weapons, destroy its terrorist infrastructure, and can have no future role in running Gaza. And Mr. Speaker, whilst aid flows have increased, the level of need is still dire, and the Israeli government must stop blocking supplies and preventing work of international NGOs. That is unconscionable, and it is costing Palestinian lives.
We come to the Leader of the Opposition, Kemi Ben.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And can I associate this side of the House with the Prime Minister's comments about Ukraine and Team GB? Mr. Speaker, before the Prime Minister and I became MPs, parties of every colour increased the cost of going to university. The system is now at breaking point for graduates. I believe the student loans have become a debt trap. It is time for all of us to do something about it. Will he cut interest rates on student loans?
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I have to say I'm glad to learn that the Leader of the Opposition has finally admitted that they scammed the country on this. And that applies to everything they did in government. We inherited their broken student loans system. We've already introduced maintenance grants to improve the situation, which they scrapped. And we will look at ways to make it fairer. And we will do other things within the economy to help students. What other things they say? The news this morning, Mr. Speaker, 7 a.m, energy bills coming down by £117 for millions of families and young people struggling. That's guaranteed money off bills in April. driven by the action that this Labour government has taken. We promised to cut the cost of living. We are cutting the cost of living.
Mr. Speaker, I asked him if he would cut interest rates on student loans. No answer. And for the record, energy bills are still higher than when he came into office. He keeps talking about the last government. In case he hasn't noticed, my party is under new leadership. A lot of people wish his was too, including the backbenchers sitting behind him. But let's talk again about student loans and student fees even. Because to win the Labour leadership, yes, with Labour together, the Prime Minister promised to abolish tuition fees. In opposition, the Education Secretary said, graduates, you will pay less under a Labour government. I wonder what happened to those people. But can the Prime Minister tell us whether graduates are paying more or less under Labour?
Well, Prime Minister. Certainly many in her party are under new leadership, Mr. Speaker. They're up there. The only change she's brought to her party is to make it smaller. And she talks about interest rates on loans. Mr. Speaker, not only have energy prices come down this morning, but since we were last here across the dispatch box, inflation has fallen as well, which has a huge impact on interest rates. Fallen to 3%. And the Bank of England say it's going to keep on falling. That's only happening because of the decisions that we made at the budget, opposed by the party opposite. They talk about the cost of living. This government is taking action, and under their watch, inflation was 11%, which crippled the state of finances for students as their loan rates went up.
Mr. Speaker, I'm amazed that while we're trying to talk about student loans, the Prime Minister has the cheek to talk about my party being smaller. His party is smaller too, including one MP who was arrested for child sex offences. So perhaps before he gets on his high horse, he should ask why his backbenchers are saying that they're being called the Pedo Defenders Party. Yes. So why don't we get back? So if he... Yes, I didn't say it. I didn't say it. I know it makes them... Yes.
Sorry. Okay, let's have less. No.
I know they don't like it, Mr. Speaker.
Does the honourable member want to leave at this stage? Just understand, I want to hear the question, because it's very important that I do hear, because I may have to make a judgment. So I don't need any more shouting.
I know they don't like it, Mr. Speaker, but I haven't said anything that's not true, have I? So perhaps, they should get off their high horse, stop making stupid jokes, and why don't we talk about student loans? Policies that may have been fine for 2012 with low interest rates are not fine for 2026. The fact is, graduates are paying more, not less. On Monday, the schools minister was asked on the BBC why Labour froze the repayment thresholds. She said the government has, and I quote, huge pressures. Those pressures have been created by his taxes and his borrowing to pay for more welfare. Why is the Prime Minister taking from students to give to Benefit Street?
What a nerve. Under their government, student loan thresholds were frozen for 10 years. 10 years. They broke the system. They did it with a bloke over there when they're in coalition together, and we're fixing it. Now, she used to say just a few weeks ago that she was going to focus on the economy at the exclusion of everything else. So I'm doing her a favour by bringing it back to the economy, because 117, desperate to talk about the economy, £117 off energy bills, inflation going down. The other thing that was confirmed on Friday, Mr. Speaker, borrowing is coming down, the biggest surplus on record. That means we've got the economy back under control. We're fixing the public finances. Now, I know the party of Liz Truss don't understand any of this, but she should welcome those changes when she next stands up.
Can they not?
Mr. Speaker, he says they're fixing the student loan system. How? He wasn't even talking about this until I raised it. The fact is, those policies...
And it goes for the row as well. Chair Select Committee expects a standard, not to shout somebody down.
Mr. Speaker.
I don't need any back chat. A bit.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. He's only talking about student loans now because I raised it. He says they're fixing the problem. The fact is he's not. Why is it that I'm willing to ditch old Conservative policies that don't work and he wants to keep them? He's not going to do anything about it at all. On Monday, they voted to increase benefits yet again. The fact is he is taking money out of the pockets of graduates and giving it to people who are not working. It is not fair. It is not just that he is saddling graduates with debt. It's not just that he is saddling graduates with debt. Yesterday, the Bank of England, yes, where she used to work in customer services. Yesterday, the Bank of England, yesterday, Mr. Speaker, the Bank of England said that his policies are fueling youth unemployment. That's not us, that's the Bank of England. For the first time ever, youth unemployment is now higher here than it is in the EU. And while he blames everyone else, our young people can't get jobs, they are losing hope and even leaving the country. Will the Prime Minister tell us how he plans to deal with it?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, she says she's ditching failed Tory policies. It's a very long list, 14 years of list, and it starts with the word sorry. And when she says that word, we'll take her seriously. And Mr. Speaker, she talks about the Bank of England. The Bank of England have reduced interest rates 6 times. We've seen the fall in energy bills. Inflation is coming down. Borrowing is coming down. She hasn't welcomed any of that. And if she wanted to talk about the economy, she wants to talk anything other than the economy. Perhaps she'll welcome the surge in retail sales as well. People are spending more on our high streets because of the action that we took. Wages boosted for millions of workers, opposed by the party opposite. Free breakfast clubs, opposed by the party opposite. Free childcare, opposed by the party opposite. Every measure we're taking to improve the economy, what do? They oppose it.
Mr. Speaker, he is desperate to talk about the last government so that he can distract from the mess that he is making now. The fact is, he is the Prime Minister today. This is a man who got legislation in to fix his own pension, just him, no one else's. He won't sort out student loans for other people. He has no plan to get young people into work. He has no plan to help graduates get out of the debt trap. They can complain as much as they like. These are facts. 411 MPs, and not a single one of them has any imagination. We are the ones doing all the thinking. Yes, he has already. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister has already made 15 U-turns. Will he make another one next week at the spring statement to fix the student loans system?
She wants me to talk about this government. Bills down under this government, £117. Inflation down under this government. Surplus up, record. Resales down. She won't welcome the economic news, but the business community is welcoming the plan. Business confidence is up. The FTSE is at a record high. The President of the British Chamber of Commerce has said this is the year our economy can turn around. Her miserable strategy of talking down the economy isn't working because Labour's got a plan for Britain.
Mr. Speaker, it'll only turn around this year if he stops being the leader. Perhaps they can do something about that. He wants us to welcome economic news. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to welcome the fact that youth unemployment is at its highest ever. I am not going to welcome the fact that unemployment has increased every single month under this Labour government. He is not doing anything about student loans because he is not governing. And he is not governing because he cannot govern. He is distracted by Labour scandal after Labour scandal. Mr. Speaker, even today now, there is an inquiry into the Inquiries Minister. That is all that they have offered since they came in. The defining moment of this man's premiership will not be breakfast clubs. It will be the sight of the man he appointed as ambassador to Washington just last year getting arrested. No wonder they're calling themselves all sorts of things. He needs to stop moaning about us and start fixing his useless government. Why should the country have to put up with 3 more years of this?
yet again, she's shown why she is so utterly irrelevant. Harping from the sidelines, trying to talk down the economy.
Hello. Please, I want to hear the question. So do your constituents, Prime Minister.
All she does is carp from the sidelines, talk the economy down, talk the country down. In the meantime, because of our work, what is happening? Energy bills down, as announced this morning. Inflation down. Borrowing down. And what's up? Retail spending is up. Investment is up. Business confidence is up. That's the difference a Labour government makes.
Okay, Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Residents in Stanley, in my constituency, are very excited about having their say on how to spend the £20 million of Pride in Place funding that Stanley South has received as one of the 250 most deprived neighbourhoods in the country. There are other villages and areas in North Durham that are too small to qualify for Pride in Place at the moment, but also urgently in need of investment. For instance, Grange Villa, New Kyo and the Avenues area of Chesley Street. Will the Prime Minister consider an additional wave of Pride in Place funding to target smaller, more concentrated areas of deprivation?
Well, I thank you for that, and I know how meaningful Pride in Place investment is to his constituents. We're backing communities with the funding and the powers they need to invest in their priorities, which is unleashing jobs, growth and opportunity. In answer to his question, I can confirm that the next wave of Pride in Place will invest in an additional 169 neighbourhoods focused on smaller areas, looking closely at deprivation. We're reversing the austerity that ripped the heart out of our high streets and our communities and giving local people a real say over how money is spent.
Leader of the Liberal Democrats, Sir Ed Davey.
Can I join the Prime Minister in congratulating Team GB on our most successful Winter Olympics ever? And can I also join him in solidarity with our Ukrainian allies and friends after 4 years of them resisting Vladimir Putin's war machine? Mr. Speaker, the former Prime Minister, Gordon Brown, has raised deeply shocking concerns that Jeffrey Epstein may have used British airports and even RAF bases to traffic young women and girls in and out of our country. This is appalling. The Prime Minister knows that I agree with Gordon Brown that there needs to be a full public inquiry into all this. If he doesn't agree with Gordon Brown, will he, at the very least, commit to releasing the flight logs and related documents? Will he wait for the House to force the government to do that?
Prime Minister.
Well, I think it's important to appreciate there's obviously a police investigation going on. And I think it's right, and I'm sure he agrees with this, that that has to go wherever the evidence takes it. And we have to let that investigation run its course before deciding what next action needs to be taken.
Sir Ed Davey.
I think we all agree that police investigations should take priority, but that doesn't rule out a public inquiry, and it certainly doesn't rule out releasing the flight logs, which I think really should be. Mr. Speaker, on a different note, it's been revealed the trustee of William Blake House, a care home for adults with profound disabilities, embezzled £1 million. There are very few homes in the country which offer this sort of care, and now it faces closure. As a father of a disabled son myself,
when death threats were made against the member for Clacton, I stood at this dispatch box and condemned the right. If he has any decency or backbone, he will stand up, apologise, condemn the comments, and sack the individual in his parties. Will he do so?
Nigel Farage.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. At the age of 14, Michel Mandarin was forcibly removed from his home, the coral atoll of Ile-de-Quoi, dumped on the quayside in Mauritius, forced to live on food scraps out of bins. He has resettled those islands and yet now faces a removal order from yet another Labour government. So maybe twice in one lifetime, he's going to be asked to leave his homeland. Can I ask the Prime Minister, for a government that is full of human rights lawyers, within and without, why do the opinions and human rights of indigenous Chagossians not matter to him at all?
Prime Minister.
So he has neither the decency nor the backbone to condemn a death threat to a member of this House, whichever party they are in. He doesn't have the decency or the backbone to condemn it and to sack the individual. And that just shows that his party have got nothing to offer the country but grievance and division. Look at their candidate in Gorton and Denton, a man who says anyone who isn't white cannot be English. No wonder he's been endorsed by Tommy Robinson. It doesn't represent our country, and anybody who wants to stand against that hatred and division should vote Labour on Thursday tomorrow in Gorton and Denton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can the Prime Minister update the House on how the government is tackling the misuse of illegal drugs? And will he reassure parents in my constituency of Rugby and across the country that Labour will continue to disagree with the views and the voices of those who think that it is a good idea to legalise Class A drugs like heroin and crack cocaine?
Prime Minister.
Can I thank him for raising that? We are working relentlessly to tackle the supply of illegal drugs and expanding police powers to test more suspects upon arrest. The Green Party's policy isn't just irresponsible, it's reprehensible. Legalising, Mr. Speaker, cocaine, heroin, ketamine, and the date rape drug, GHB, a drug which we know is used to spike drinks for women. Now, whilst we're making that an offence, the Green Party's proposals would shatter lives, increase antisocial behaviour, and see drugs use running rife. And I have to say, as the father of a 17-and-a-half-year-old son, the idea that the argument is being made by the Greens that when he turns 18 in just a few months, it would be lawful to provide him with heroin and crack cocaine is absolutely disgusting.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Prime Minister recently stated we will not allow the powerful to treat justice as optional. He was talking about Epstein's enablers. But my constituent, who uses the pseudonym Isabella, has asked me to ask the PM whether his words also apply to those who assisted Britain's Epstein, Mohammed Al-Fayed, a monster who, with others, abused her and hundreds of other women and girls in a human trafficking scandal that the Met, unlike the French authorities, are still refusing to treat as such. So will the Prime Minister ensure sufficient resources are committed to fully investigating this multi-perpetrator, multi-jurisdictional, multi-decade trafficking outrage, and meet with Isabella and her fellow victims to understand the terrible scale of this shocking crime?
Well, can I thank you for raising this really important case on behalf of really important victims? And I'm sure the thoughts of the whole House are with those victims. Every report of sexual offence should be treated seriously. Every victim should be treated with dignity, and every investigation should be conducted professionally. The Safeguarding Minister is meeting the victims, and I will make sure that his constituent is part and included in those meetings. If he gives me the full details, I'll make sure that happens.
Imran Hussain.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And we have all heard the horrific news that a man entered Manchester Central Mosque last night in this, the holy month of Ramadan, carrying weapons, including a hammer, a knife, and an axe. Mr. Speaker, violent and Islamophobic attacks against the Muslim community are becoming far too frequent in our country. Prime Minister, is it not the case that every single politician in this place, and I mean every politician, especially that lot over there. Mr. Speaker, they may nod their heads, but this morning we could have woken up to a horrific terrorist attack, killing innocent Muslim worshippers only for being Muslim. Prime Minister, is it not the case that every single politician in this place and every single journalist have responsibility to stop fanning the flames of hatred against the Muslim community?
Can I thank him for raising this really important case and tell him that I share his deep concern and the deep concern of the community over the incident at Manchester Central Mosque, particularly during the holy month of Ramadan. And we will not and must not relent in the fight against anti-Muslim hatred. We must not. Mr. Speaker, I remember visiting Peacehaven Mosque in the wake of the awful attack there. And when I did, I committed £40 million to protect mosques and community centres. It's a shame that we have to do that, but we do have to do it. And we're establishing a new fund to monitor anti-Muslim hatred and support victims. And I want to reassure my honourable friend and the House that we will fight hatred and protect freedom of worship in this country.
Lord Miller. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Bicester is one of the fastest growing towns in the country, but the town will be cut in two when rail services start between Oxford and Cambridge and the London Road level crossing closes. Campaigners were ignored by the Conservative administrations for over a decade, but today we're in touching distance of a solution. East West Rail has a detailed plan for an underpass, the Rail Minister is fully engaged, we have financial support from the County Council, and thousands of local residents have pledged £1.
Well, there we go, folks. That is most of it over. The highlights, obviously, with Kemi and, of course, the leader of the Lib Dems, Davey, as well. And a few comments there, very strong at the end, the MP on the situation in Manchester and the mosques there, Howard. Rogue.
I think Kemi let him off. Like, she wasn't as harsh as she normally is. She should have, I just feel like, look, is there some kind of, I don't know, is it they're kind of some holding that they can't say anything? What is it? What is going on? Why is she not like going for the kill with Mandelson? Like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah, Howard, over to you. Is it to do with, because there's obviously an ongoing investigation over the Manson case, why she didn't go for him on that? If she mentioned something.
Well, yeah, but I think it's important to understand, yet again, we've got a Prime Minister that doesn't answer the questions. It's got, I think, yeah, she went on, she's got a bit of a political bean up on it about the student loan thing, which I think is very serious indeed. And I think she's right to bring it up. But I think the problem I have is with the Speaker really saying to the Prime Minister, why are you not answering the question? It is Prime Minister's questions. It's not the leader of the opposition expected to answer questions. And, you know, I get fed up with it. And yet again, we're seeing that the humble British citizen in this country is coming second class to the Muslim issue in this country. And I'm going to be criticised for this, but we're being invaded. We are indeed. Yeah. And why are we spending so much time in worrying and investing in mosques and things like that? There was a Methodist church, I think, burned down in Southall, I think it was recently. Yeah. Those are the sorts of things that really matter to people. And when I go round talking to people, I was up in Denton and Gorton on Saturday, and I spoke to a lot of local people, and they're not worried about anything to do with these national issues. They're more interested in the potholes and, you know, whether they can pay their council bill or knife crime locally, all those sorts of things. And I'm fed up the back teeth when I see the Greens shouting about legalising serious drugs. My background in training is I'm a pharmacologist by training, and I know what even low-dose cannabis can do to paranoia and neurosis on people. I mean, you know, I grew up in uppers and downers at parties and things. I never took any drugs, and I saw the impact on certain people. And all I can say, to legalise heroin and cocaine, which is what they want, is honestly, I think that's treasonous. Let alone what the Epstein situation is with Mandelson.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think under the Greens, you'd have a bunch of Muslims, drug-taking people. I mean, you name it. They are the Al Akbar party, aren't they? I mean, the promo video they put out, I don't know if you've seen it. I mean, it's all in Urdu. I mean, absolutely, they're targeting that Muslim vote. And as much as I don't like to admit it, they're polling very, very well in that constituency at the moment. Aren't they, Howard?
They've got every chance of winning. There's no doubt about it. A lot of the polls are putting him in front of Reform, and you know, and bless Nick Buckley, who's a good friend, and you know, I think he's a good man, Nick Buckley. He's a local man. He's educated there. He's born there. He's worked there. He knows it inside out. And I did a quick poll recently on X, which asking what should be the MP's priority in terms of their job, basically. And I think it's 3 out of 4 people said local issues, local constituency issues, not national issues. And I'm afraid I dare I say it. I mean, you know, Nick's got a real mountain to climb. He knows that. But you know, it looks like the Greens and Reform are going to be fighting it out, and Labour might even lose their deposit, which is good news.
Yeah, the Matt Goodwin situation. Apparently he's under investigation by the Electoral Commission. And I've noticed that his ratings have dropped massively since that's happened. Not on just on social media, but I think generally the general public feel as if he can't be trusted, Howard.
Well, for a start, I mean, I've known him. I've sat in many a green room in GB News and Talk TV, and I've spoken to him. And he looks down his nose at people like me. I'm afraid I'm a grassroots campaigner. I work on behalf of people. He's an academic, a pollster. He's never done anything to contribute to society except change his mind. He was a hope not hate supporter, you know, and all those sorts of things. And he's flip-flopped over to the allegedly right side of politics. But I'm afraid, you know, when you look at Reform, they're just part of the establishment now. I find them very centralist, even to the extent in some policies they're very much moving to the left. But you know, Matt Goodwin's he's an incredibly bright guy, very intelligent. But there's lots of things going. I think he's been looked at for unseemable behaviour or something in the GB News studio behind the scenes there, I understand. And as far as the under investigation for fraud, they're calling it, I think that's over the top. It simply didn't put the imprint on the leaflet. You know, the printing situation. We've all made those sorts of mistakes, but in this such high, you know, with how much money Reform have got, they should have had the checks in place to make sure that was in place.
Yeah. Now I'm just looking. So in Australia, and I kind of go back to this. Labour in Australia have sort of a hate law has come out, and the way that he was talking here then was talking about the anti-Muslim law, and basically he's going to start protecting them. He's going to start, like you said, fueling money into the mosques. Was it 40 million?
40 million, yeah.
40 million into the mosques, right? So I believe, and I've said this all along, that the actual law is going to come across here soon, and it is going to be the hate law, which is we're not allowed to say anything that is deemed as anti-Muslim, anything. So, you know, they are protecting them at all costs. And so you've got Labour and now the Greens who are all collaborating. And then it just becomes this kind of nightmare for us because we can't speak freely. Like, surely this is a world of free speech, no?
Well, you know how I feel about this, Rogue. From my point of view, we are a second-rate group of people, the indigenous Brits. We're just treated, well, totally irrelevance now. Everything is about what these ethnic groups are, which are no longer a minority now. They're becoming almost a majority. And we're talking about in 10 to 20 years, I can't remember the exact statistic, but we know the indigenous, I hate using the word white because I've got lots of good friends who were born here, you know, who are of different colour, and they are truly British and they're contributing to society. I'm afraid what's happening at the moment is deliberate orchestration of reducing Britain to nothing but a state that is for other ideologies. And I can't handle that. We have a joke about my age, I'm 71, but I don't need to do what I'm doing now, but I'm so angry what's happening, and I really care passionately, and I know you two do as well, and I applaud you for what you do. I really do. And with all the politics, I went to the court case on yesterday or day before yesterday, I can't remember where it is now, or Rupert Lowe, when he's taking on basically the Speaker of the House regarding grievance and complaints issue regarding his bullying that he's been accused of doing. And Rupert's a good friend. I mean, I'm not a member of Restore Britain, and I'm not going to really talk about the politics, but the principle is that I spoke to Rupert, privately for 15 to 20 minutes about various things, all sorts of things, and I think you can imagine what I was talking about. But what I was talking to him about is what's happening to our country. And there's a man who is absolutely incensed with what's happening to our country, and he's the most effective MP in Parliament. And and there we have an opportunistic in Nigel Farage standing up about the Chagos thing, and which is that is the most incredibly lack of common sense policy. Everyone in the world knows this, but for some reason we're giving away a strategically important defence base and paying money for the privilege of getting rid of it, which we've got. And those are the sorts of stupidity. And it's interesting. The first Tory question was, could you turn around, your 16th, I think it is, U-turn. But again, and this is why Lindsay Hoyle should be held to account as Speaker, he's supposed to be make sure the Prime Minister answers the bloody questions and not blames it on everyone else. And that's what frustrates me.
Do you know what? You're not the only person. So our researcher he emailed the Speaker to ask why he doesn't insist that Keir Starmer answers the question. Now, we've got actually a reply from him. So it says, dear, I won't say his name. Mr. Speaker asked me to thank you for your email and to respond on his behalf. The Speaker is the servant of the House and can only operate within the powers which the House has granted him. These do not include the authority to require ministers to give proper answers to questions. What? Then it goes on to say, such a power would, in any event, be inconsistent with the requirement for the Speaker to act impartially. That seeks to adjudicate on the quality of an answer would necessarily be a political act. Although the Speaker would be willing to exercise impartially any power that the House might grant him, there is a risk that a Speaker who is expected to adjudicate on the quality of answers would undermine the impartiality of the office, as well as taking up much of the time which should be really available for opposition and backbench MPs to hold the government to account. What?
Well, that's your absolute look, guys. I mean, this thing, make them answer properly. It's not a question of that. It's a question of just answer the question, not immediately turn it back and say, we've inherited 14 years of terrible. Wait till you say sorry. That's the first thing. Can we all those sorts of things? All he had to say with regard to that, will you lower interest rates, is we'll look into that. I'll discuss this with the Bank of England. If it benefits the nation, the economy and students, we will do it. There, I've answered it. It's dead simple. But no, he goes back and attacks. And that's why I unfortunately, I forced myself to watch PMQs for the last 15 years. And I virtually see every one of them. But every time it's the same. It's no different, whatever the politics. I mean, and you get usual, the Liberal Dems, they're opportunists too. They jump on bandwagons. And obviously, it's good to see him bring up the Epstein thing and the Mandelson thing. But fundamentally, they're all opportunists. And, those people, just look at those people, they represent us. We elected them, and most of them are career politicians. They're not there for the grassroots, for us, or the country. They're in it for themselves.
Absolutely. And we've got somebody here saying Commons is a pantomime, and it really feels like it. There is this kind of almost joke. It's the way that they present themselves, and they're not taking, like you said, seriously. Like what we have done when we were doing our, meet and greets and meeting everybody and trying to talk to people. You become a doctor, a counsellor, a bishop, a best friend. You become everything to these people because each and every one of them have gone through either a horrific story, they have testament of a family member that has gone through something. And when you're having to listen to all of that, you want to do something. But when you see them, you can see their attitude. And it's just, I think it's just taking the piss out of us. It's horrible to watch.
Well, there's no respect for us whatsoever, Rogue, is there? That I when you look at that, and when Kemi Badenoch is, you got the opposition, you got David Shammy, whatever his name is, and you got Steve Reed, you got Bridget, all those people. Then you got Rachel Thieves. They're all there. They're going, ooh, like this, and ooh.
Yeah.
This is they're being paid $100,000 a year and they've got something like 5 or 6 staff each. Obviously, some got more, etc. And you're in a situation where these people are dictating our future. Our cost of living, and the lies he comes out. I don't give a shit about free breakfast clubs, I'm afraid. He's saying we're giving that. No, you're not. The taxpayer's paying for that. And good, decent people who actually look after their children, who give them a decent breakfast before they go out, are paying for people who don't give a shit about their kids. And that's the thing that really worries me about the whole attitude. The whole situation, the political fulcrum of the spectrum is moving slowly and more to actually for the people who don't contribute to this society, and those people that do contribute are being shat upon from a great height.
Yeah. One of the things I picked up as well for me was I know we can jump in backwards and forwards here on the Green Party's policy that they put out there on legalizing drugs. Now, I've worked in that area for many, many years. I run drug rehabilitation centres for over a decade. I was a drug addict myself, went to rehab when I was 18. I lost my brother to heroin at 35. So I've got a very emotional connection to that whole thing. And this policy of this thing they come up with is one of the worst things that I've ever heard any political party ever say. I know there's an argument for the legalization of marijuana. I can understand that argument. I know it has helped some people with fibromyalgia and many other illnesses, but I know there's psychotic effects, which you've mentioned, Howard, as well. But that's a debate for another time. I think for me right now, listening to what the Green Party are pushing out there with the pro-Muslim vote, and then you can have drugs, they'll be legalized, crack, heroin, all these class A drugs, that will absolutely zombify our country. Not only will it change the demographics that we've seen with the cultural changes, but it's going to change it massively. You look at Scotland, Glasgow in particular is one of the highest, it's an epidemic drug problems in the whole of Europe, right? And they have had safe houses where they're allowed people. It doesn't work. It does not work. If anything, we need to be tougher and harder and stop the supply and arrest those at the top who are bringing the drugs into this country in the first place. But here's the problem. We can't stop people coming over in boats. Never mind people coming over here and bringing drugs into the country. So how the hell are they going to stop that? So the whole premises of this policy that the Green Party is suggesting is absolutely abhorrent. It is ridiculous. And I don't know anybody with a brain cell in their head how they can think voting for the Green Party would be a good thing.
Well, if you notice, the Green Party don't talk about the environment anymore. They seem to think that all these other things, these freedoms, and you're dead right. I applaud you, Richie, regarding what you've done in the past and what you've gone through. And, I know lots of people similar to you who've gone through these sorts of things. And, I'm all for marijuana being used in multiple sclerosis and lots of things like that, but under the direction of the doctor. That's what the prescription process is about. Yeah. And, it's controlled. There's a lot of drugs that even being prescribed now, the anxiolytics, antidepressants, codeine, morphine, all these drugs. I've had some serious back pain. I've been on cocodamol. If I eat about 10 or 12 of those in one go, I'd be in serious trouble, but I'd be probably laying on the ceiling. but from my point of view, this whole attitude of, we do need to control people because, I think the date rape drug is the issue with very much at the moment in time. You imagine, I'm sorry to say that these nasty, rape gang groups of people, that's their major tool of controlling people. That's what they're doing. And you use the word zombie. You're absolutely right. Then we're going to get an increase in crime, violence, everything will escalate. And the Greens are supposed to be that cuddly little thing worrying about, the lower spotted locust in Zimbabwe. These are the sort of people that we just do not need in our politics. We need serious people who know who represent common sense and not stupid idealism.
I just want to say a massive thank you to the original Joe Blogs. Thank you so much for gifting 10 Richie and Rogue Unfiltered memberships. That's really, really lovely of you. Thank you very, very much. We truly appreciate it.
And Claire as well for a super chat on the start of
Claire, they gave us a look.
Just want to say, I would like to acknowledge that.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you, Claire.
We appreciate that massively. Really do.
Get a pasty from Greg's now.
Yeah. Well, bless you guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you know, it's really funny actually, because what I find really weird is when you've had a drug problem, so there are people who've become addicts, whether it's due to trauma, whether it's to certain things, you know, you end up getting stigma, you know, there's this kind of reputation that precedes you, and everybody deems you that same person, even though you've evolved, gotten through it, and been the better person that you can be, and you've then turned around and helped people that were in the same position as you, you are then still accosted for your past. You are still made out to be this bad guy. But yet when the Greens are doing this, they're basically saying, everybody's all right, you know, you can have this kind of bad guy, this bad boy attitude with doing all the drugs. But their understanding is, and our friend, we have a friend who's absolutely for it. She's actually a nurse, and she thinks this is really, really good idea, because she thinks it's a slow introduction, it's legalized, and then it doesn't become this kind of menacing like addiction through everybody, because then it's controlled. So you can kind of hear like that flip side, but I don't agree with it whatsoever, because I actually was working with heroin addicts and crack addicts, and it is so consuming for them, and it is such a horrific, you know, kind of addiction. And what we need is more places for people to go and have the rehabilitation to actually learn life again without it, not just going, here we go, let's legalize it and crack on. Do you know what I mean? Sorry for the pun, don't mean crack on, crack on.
That's smack on the money, that. That's smack on the money, that. Well done.
Oh dear, I like that one. Sorry, but you're dead right. I mean, what you actually said, something, Rogan, said that, you know, where it's controlled, you know, they go to these places where it's controlled. But even if it's controlled, you still, I mean, what does that mean? How do you control access to it? There'll still be a black market for a start, because if it's controlled, that's basically some sort of over-the-counter type control. You've got to log your name, you're buying this, you're doing that. You cannot control this bloody thing. And Richie made the point about we can't control the boats coming in. How could we not controlling the drug people, that, you know, anything like this? We are a failed nation in actually protecting the people in our country. And that's the sort of thing that's worrying me big time. And as I say, I'm long in the tooth, and I've never seen a country that is so in need of more than just change. But I'm telling you now, it needs a discipline that I don't think any political party is actually promising to give. But we need a discipline in all of us, a self-discipline as well. And we also need to make sure parents actually parent children better and educate them, because that's where it starts.
Yeah.
So it says here, do you think Greens want a total dereliction of our younger society? And my next question, I'm holding that there, but what do the Greens feel about the assisted dying bill? Where are they at with that? Do we know what they think?
I think they support the assisted dying bill.
See, that worries me. So whilst they are then actually allowing people to have access to drugs and we're legalizing everything, I don't know. For me, just looking at it, like objectively, there is this kind of like link. And like Capricorn Moon said, you know, do you think Greens want a total dereliction of our younger society? Well, I don't know. There's just something kicking off here in my mind.
Well, the Greens are certainly targeting a younger demographic, aren't they? It's very clear about their policies, and they're almost like what Corbyn was when he was riding the crest of the wave. It seems as if, you know, the Green Party is doing the same now. When it comes to Westminster voting intentions, I don't think, you know, the Greens really stand a chance. But in local elections, they appear to be very, very liked by a lot of people because, you know, he's a charismatic guy. I'm saying this, what other people might suggest. He's a very charismatic guy. Some of his videos he's been putting out there, I mean, he comes across a different way to me than others have assumed, I've got to be honest. But I think that he's appealing to certain demographic people. And of course, the Muslim vote is big. And of course, in Gordon and Denton, where you've been campaigning with Advance and Nick Buckley, and you've got Matt Goodwin and Labour Party there. I mean, look, I mean, we're going to obviously the next couple of Thursday, Friday, tomorrow. I think the results are out tomorrow. Am I right? Yes, we'll find out more then.
We're no Friday morning.
Friday morning after the count. Yeah. We'll have to have you on. We'll have to have Friday, and we'll find out what the results are. We can zoom into. Are you going to be at the count?
No, I can't. You know, I did a 600-mile round trip which took 7 hours the other day. I mean, because of the bloody potholes and traffic and diversions. And anyway, so let's be realistic about this. At the moment, it is between Reform and the Greens, and the Greens have unashamedly attracted the Muslim vote. That's what they're doing. The Muslims are actually telling it. They're coming out and saying they're supporting the Greens. That's nothing to do with the green environmental policies. It's pure opportunistic left wing, seeking votes from the Muslim community, and that's what the Labour are trying to do by putting money into mosques, etc. It's sickening beyond belief. I don't know how this is going on, and people, the division in this country is nothing to do with right and left wing anymore. It's simply the Islamic invasion versus the rest of us.
Absolutely, and I think on that, Howard, you are correct. And I think one of Rupert's kind of popularity keys, really, one of his go-tos, is he's been very, very outspoken, and I know that Ben has as well. But Rupert and his team are very, very outspoken on this, and some would say too far. Some would say. But it's attracting a lot of support, isn't it? And a lot of people are seeing what he's saying, and it's resonating with them, because I think people are afraid. And I've said this, and I think one of our guys did some research. If you look at the projection of the next, 20, 50 to 60 years, we will be an indigenous minority of people in our own country. And more people, as Kenny Badenoch in the debate there mentioned, are leaving the country because of, young people, because of lack of employment that's out there, or jobs that's out there. So we're going to see a real shift. We got this wealth tax they want to place on people as well, certain parties. So you've got millionaires leaving the country. You'll have young people leaving the country. Well, our borders are wide open, with these people coming from foreign countries, coming here with a different civilization and culture, becoming the majority. And we will lose our identity as a country. We will lose who we are as a people. And that, to me, is frightening. I mean, I've talked to you before, and do I leave the country, or do I stay and fight? What do we do? I mean, that question comes in my mind now and again. I still ask that question, because we can fight and fight and fight, but if we don't gain any ground, we don't win. It comes a point, Howard, because we're getting a bit older now, right? We're not young men anymore, right? And we're like, or young women anymore. You're still young, obviously. You only look in your 20s. You're beautiful, anyway. You must be using the same cream as Howard. But my fear is that, and some people have said this to me, it's too late. People, and I know politicians say, no, it's not too late. We've got a party set up. We can fight this. I get that, right? They have to say that. And that, when people say that to me, it's too late. It's too late. And if you look around the country, then people who are not involved in politics say this to us. Well, what's the point in voting? It's too late.
That irritates me, because they don't want to vote. But I do understand. And like Kemi said, we haven't got 3 years for him to carry on being, in Labour as the Prime Minister, because he is ruining our country. But he's not just ruining it. He is just, it's a open for all. It's one for all here. But apart from the indigenous people of here. And it's absolutely frustrating. Mm-hmm. But people are wanting to leave. Young people are wanting to leave because they just can't afford to live here. And I just think that it's all orchestrated. It has been orchestrated. It's the 2030 agenda, and it is just, it's implementing. It is being implemented as we talk now.
Yeah. I mean, Howard, what Rose just said there, what would you say to those people then, who get that? You've heard it as well. What's the point, Howard? Nothing's going to change. What's the point? And I know you'd advocate for advance, of course, and we understand and appreciate that. But what would you say to them as a human being, as a father, as a man? When people say, "What's the point?"
Well, my wife has just shouted in the background, "Let's move to Italy."
Come on, Jenny, let's go.
Yeah. Yes, I told you she's right of Attila the Hun, so be careful. But on a serious note, today I learned there's 450 young fit men have arrived in dinghies today. It's a record. If you multiplied that, we've never had 2,000 in 1 week, but we're heading that direction. 450 young men. You think what they're going to get, and why are they coming here? Because it's a complete, and you said it, Ro, it is being orchestrated. It's a whole approach to change our way of life. And that's what it is. Our culture, our history. We can go on with the cliches, and people who say it's what's the point? They said that the last election. I think something like 48% didn't vote. We're in a situation now where I still think voting should be compulsory. And the Australians do it. You can ruin your ballot paper. You can say none of the above, all those things. But we need you. It's your duty. If you complain and moan about something and you think you're giving up and there's nothing we can do about it, well, I'm sorry, I don't support you. You have got to get in there and tick the box for what you want. I don't care what you tick, left, right, green, I don't care. But you must vote, because you have no right to complain if you haven't actually contributed to changing this country.
Absolutely. But what I will say, if you are going to spoil the ballot paper, please do not put a cock and balls, because we ended up with one. We've got him. He's in.
Oh dear. Was it a big one?
That's good. That's really good. You're on fire this morning. That's great. That's brilliant. Fantastic. Well, Howard, our show's almost up. We're coming up to 1 o'clock. So we're going to round it up now, Rogue. Is there anything else from PMQs? Anything from your side on PMQs you thought? Again, I mean, the idea of this is we don't want to highlight it to our audience, and you know, because it's the same thing every week, isn't it? We hear the same tripe every single week. The questions are pre-scripted. They put the Speaker of the House before, you know, they put into Parliament and all that before they debated on the benches and everything else. And it just seems the same stuff all the time. But it was interesting that they had Farage speak today, because he's been up in the gallery for quite some time and refusing to be in the chamber, right? So it's very interesting. And of course, we know why, because the election's coming up here in Wales in May, aren't we? And in Scotland. And, you know, so there's obviously some movements around that. The Welsh elections, Howard, we're going to be covering some of that on the road coming up. Of course, it's going to affect people in Wales here massively. The Welsh government put through a bill to support the assisted dying bill that Westminster has pushed through as well, because how devolved governments work is they have a debate in the Senate to agree that they agree with Westminster on having this bill passed. It has no power because it's not devolved, right? But they still have to have a vote. And it was agreed, the Welsh government or Welsh Parliament Senate agreed that this bill is something that should go through, and they agreed with it. But I'm concerned about vulnerable people.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, because the industry itself, the care industry, the palliative care in this country is absolutely dreadful. And the idea is, you know, they're a cost and a burden to the country. So if we, you know, if we could legalize literally killing people, because that's, in my opinion, what it is by assisted dying, then that will reduce the cost to the country and the burden it is within palliative care and our social care sector. And this is a frightening time. And I know that Baroness Claire Fox in the House of Lords has been advocating against this as well. I think Baroness Hoyers as well in the House of Lords. So I think there's a lot of people that are standing up, but the government are not listening, Howard, are they?
No, they're certainly not. And there's two ends of this spectrum. There's murder of the older generation. There's also murder of children not yet born, you know, with the abortion right to full term. All these sorts of things we didn't vote for. We don't want any of that sort of thing. I don't know why it's happening. Again, what's happening behind the scenes, or in the being driven and forcing people. Like last week, something I thought was it's 70% of the House voted against a child rape gang inquiry. You know, hang on a second. What's going on? This is decent policies. We got a government that we voted in not listening to us. And you said that right from the beginning, Richie. They're not listening to us. So what do we do about it? We got to keep fighting. And that's why, Richie, don't leave the country. Keep staying here, mate. You know, I'll drink a glass of claret with you, and we can do all that sort of thing. But I'll be knocking on doors and whatever it is. There's nothing really separates us in terms of what we want for our nation. You know, our whole, including Northern Ireland. Those are the sorts of things we must work together on. And it's people like us that people are looking to.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant. Well, look, I've really enjoyed today having you on, so thank you very much. You can come next Wednesday. You are more than welcome. PMQ regular.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been interesting. I feel that Mandelson should have been discussed more, but it wasn't. Hey ho. And
there's a lot more going to come out, isn't there?
I mean, there is, but people want to know. We want to know. I certainly want to know. So, But look, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure as always, sir.
Yeah, we love you, Howard. And good luck with Fairfield as well. Folks, don't forget to go on to Fairfield UK and support them, because, as I've said before, this is a gentleman's fighting for you. He's not being owed or paid by any politicians. He does it because he believes in doing what's best for you as citizens of this country. So, Howard, thank you ever so much for coming on the show. And thank you for doing what you're doing with Fairfield UK as well.
Good luck tomorrow as well.
Thank you. It's been a huge pleasure. Thank you as ever. Thank you.
Thank you. Mate. Take care. Bye-bye, Howard. Wow. We love Howard.
Yeah, we do.
He is legend.
He is.
I had to sing it, didn't I?
You always have to sing it.
I have to sing it. Yeah. So look, today, tomorrow, the next day, it's all the same shit, isn't it?
Same shit, different shovel.
Whilst Labour's in, whilst Keir Starmer's in, it's not going to change. We need to make the change. We need to ensure.
You know, I was thinking, you know, the whole thing about the political things people leave in the country, you know, we're facing it's a massive culture war, not just a political war we're facing here. And I think that somehow we're going to have to try and, you know, like there are movements out there, activists out there, independent journalists out there that are not just making noise, but are actually affecting change. You know, when governments do things, I think it was mentioned, Kemi Badenoch mentioned, look, Starmer, you've made 15 U-turns since you became PM. When's your 16th U-turn?
Yeah.
Those U-turns because of public pressure, right? So I think public pressure does work. And I think groups that like the Together Association, you know, they campaign for so many different things. They're doing it now on digital ID. They're doing it on, you know, the farmers. We had Gareth Wyn-Jones on the show talking about how important our farming industry is, and they want to wipe it out here in the country, you know, food security, how important it is. And I think that our voices are being heard, and it's the message is getting out there. But I would say to people, if you're concerned with these issues, always contact your MP.
Yeah,
and there are templates on websites. In fact, I think if we can ask our team to put some templates on our website, Rogue, if you go there, we'll get something up there.
www.richieandrogue.com.
Yeah, and then you can send them into your local MS or your Member of Parliament as well. But we've got lots going on. There's so much. The next 3 months going to be, so the campaign trail starts now really for the Welsh elections. This is going to be massive in Wales now. We're going to have reporters on the ground as well.
We are indeed. I'm quite excited, actually. I might go out reporting too. Be on the ground, be like, yo.
I'll stay in the studio, you're all right.
I'll be out catching the rays, catching the sunshine.
That's how I've sprayed the skies,
Yeah, that's true.
Well, folks, let me just go through some of these. I just want to say thank you ever so much to all of our subscribers as well, our members, and we'll let's just check the comments out here. Bear with. Yeah, I think that's it, Rob, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. We are done. We are done. Look, guys, thank you so much for coming. And we're on tonight at 8 p.m. with Catherine Blakelock.
Yes,
so we will have a big conversation to see her thoughts on halal meat in schools and actually what is going on in real life, in real terms, here in Great Britain. Thank you.
Bye.
And goodbye.